Well, you know what it means. It's Monday. It's a new episode of Hot Sauce Takes, where I take you, the viewer, your hottest takes, and I put my reaction in a video. This is, I'm pretty sure, episode 5, so we've done 4 other episodes. I have a playlist for all the other ones if you want to see those out. But yeah, so I make a community post, like the one you're going to see on screen, and I just ask for your takes, and you just get them, and I'll give you my reaction to my favorite ones. Now, I'm no longer going to be doing every single take, but rather like the 5 or 6 favorite ones that I really enjoy. Now, before we get started, it would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to the channel. Here on the Mix Channel, we make constant NBA content that you're surely going to enjoy, while also leaving a like if you like the videos. And if you're new, comment down below, I subscribe, shout out. There, I'll shout you out in the next video, reply to your comment, and heart your comment. So, with that being said, let's begin. Now, the first take comes to us from Krish, and he says, the Warriors will be a top 5 seed, and Curry will win MVP. So, after the All-Star break, the Golden State Warriors have a rather easy schedule, and with the improvement of Kelly Oubre getting his rhythm, Wiggins just getting better in a new culture, Wiseman from being a rookie and just getting better as the season continues, and Draymond Green being more like himself, I can see why Krish is being optimistic here. They are currently the 9th seed and only 3 games off the 5th seed. Now, they can't easily go on a win streak because Curry's on a tear, and they have really been working together, especially the 3-point shots have been falling. But I can see the Warriors being the top 5 seed. I can definitely see that. I personally see them being around the 8 to 5 seed. I can see that being in the play-in tournament, around there. But if the Warriors are only the 5th seed, there is no way Curry can win MVP. There is no way he can pass if the Sixers are the 1 or 2 seed. He can't pass Joel Embiid. He would no doubt be on All-NBA first team and top 5 in MVP, but I can't really see Curry winning MVP if he isn't a top 2 seed, and that's what someone like LeBron James or Joel Embiid is. If you look in NBA history, there are very little times where the MVP isn't a 1 or 2 seed. You have like Russell Westbrook, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar once, but those are just special scenarios. And Curry, yes, a lot of people love Curry, but he just doesn't have that same story as averaging a triple-double from Russ and getting like backstabbed by Kevin Durant. So I do agree with the take that they can be a top 5 seed, but I don't really personally see Curry winning MVP. Now, the next take comes to us from New York Yankees and Knicks fans, and he says, if the Knicks use their cap space correctly, they can be finals contenders. The New York Knicks have been awful in the last 4 seasons, making bad trades and just draft choices overall. They drafted Frank Ntilikina and Kevin Knox, who have not panned out at all, while trading Tinkus Pingus for cap space in the 2019 offseason. And because that trade looked so bad at first, it looked like a really bad trade. Then in the offseason, they missed out Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and Kyrie Irving. But in 2021, they look really good with All-Star Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and Emmanuel Quickley just building around that young core. They stand as the 5th seed right now, having the same record as the Golden State Warriors. Tibbs' defense has changed the whole Knicks culture, and just with the Knicks having max cap space in 2021 free agency, which, yes, it is pretty trash, but there's still players like Oladipo and potentially Kawhi there. They can definitely make a move, but also in trades, they can trade for someone like Karl Anthony Towns or Bradley Beal with their young assets and plethora of picks. The Knicks, I don't know if they're that yet, because that turnaround is kind of crazy from becoming bottom of the league to signing Kawhi Leonard. I think it's going to take a couple more years, but I do think that the New York Knicks have a strong foundation, are in the right direction. Now, the next take comes to us from Tuki, and he says, LaMelo Ball will be better than Carmelo Anthony when it's all said and done. Now, I personally think that there's a pointless debate for who is Melo. If you saw Carmelo's interview when he talked about LaMelo wanting to have the nickname Melo. Oh, sorry if I got you confused there. But he just said it's a matter of respect, and I just really appreciate that he just respected me, and I don't really think it really matters. Personally, Carmelo will always be the real Melo, but just breaking down Carmelo's career, You can argue that Carmelo Anthony's career was a disappointment because his insane talent, we're just not using it in playoff success. But he is no doubt one of the most talented scorers ever. He was a top 10 player in the NBA in Denver and New York, and almost beat Kobe Bryant and the Lakers in the 2019 playoffs, but losing in 7 games. However, just in New York, he didn't really go too far, and ever since he got traded to Oklahoma, Houston, and now reviving his career in the Blazers, he's kind of been a role player and never been that star. Lamelo Ball has been electrified, leading all rookies in points, rebounds, assists, and steals, while also being a major contributor in leading the Hornets to a 7th seed, while also being only 19 years old. There were a lot of bust potential in LaMelo, but he's really proving us wrong. He has been so good as a shooter with having very good efficiency. Now, personally for me, I knew that the moment LaMelo Ball got drafted to the Hornets and he scored 0 points, I knew he was going to be good. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're watching this video, you probably watch Kenny. And he had a My Career series called Kenny Hardaway. And he was on the Hornets on his first game. He scored 0 points. He is good friends with Bismack Biyombo. He doesn't really like Devontae Graham. And then Kenny Hardaway turned out to be an All-NBA second-team guy. So I knew that the first game, we should not overreact. Now, I know that's 2K, but I just knew that. The moment I saw that, I knew I would never worried about LaMelo Ball. But just LaMelo Ball, the only way I can see him being better than Carmelo is if he has playoff success, while also having, of course, multiple All-Star appearances, All-NBA appearances, and potentially even an MVP. I can't say that's too certain, but I think that there are now really high expectations now that he has been the leading Rookie of the Year guy, where someone like Lonzo Ball, he didn't really have too high expectations, or they lowered after he just wasn't good in LA. But I do think that LaMelo definitely has the talent. Now, the next take comes to us from Splasho, and he says, the Lakers are the way better team than the Brooklyn Nets when fully healthy. In the 2021 season, everyone knew that there were a lot of contenders, and mainly in the East was wide open. But many had the Lakers and Nets coming out of the West and East. The Lakers just came back from a shortened season where they just won the championship. But having a 72-day break, and not having really fresh bodies, I personally knew as a Laker fan that they were really going to face some struggles. But in the beginning, when they started off so good, it raised everyone's expectations. And when they started not hitting the 3-pointers, just not being as good, a lot of people don't really believe in them, and I don't really think that should be true. Like I said, they had the shortest turnaround of all time, and it's just so crazy how much that turnaround is. That's 72 days, while a team like the New York Knicks had a 9-month break. So I think we should understand, like, the Lakers team, especially LeBron, AD, KCP, Caruso, they've been doing very well in just, like, surviving and still making the shots. And it's going to be really interesting how the second half of the season goes. They've had a lot of injury issues in Anthony Davis, Alex Caruso, and KCP, while Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Lowe, all having virus problems. And with them having to overplay LeBron James, he has definitely not been as good recently. But they're still a better team than last year. Dennis can be that extra ball handler for LeBron. They have, on paper, better shooters, and this team is just better. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, in the beginning of the season, had Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and role players in Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, and Karis LeVert, but decided to go all in for James Harden, switching to an all-offense team and no defense. They then recently added Blake Griffin, and potentially getting JaVale McGee or Andre Drummond in the future. Both of these teams are amazing. Personally, I might be a little bit biased, but I got the Lakers, mainly because basketball is a two-way game, and if you can't defend, you're probably not going to win a championship. And that's what I think the Lakers are best at. They can clamp up. And yes, they don't really hit the three-pointers. And outside of LeBron, AD, and Schroeder, they aren't the best at shot creating. But being able to clamp up is a good identity for a championship team. I personally got the Lakers, but this season is going to be crazy. Now, the last take we're going to be looking at comes to us from Ty Baller. And he says, Blake Griffin won't make an impact on the team he goes to. And this was made before he got signed to the Nets. Blake has had an amazing career, having probably a Hall of Fame career, being a six-time All-Star, but injuries hurting his prime in Detroit, while also having a humongous deal that was basically untradeable. He was bought out by the Pistons and then signed with the Brooklyn Nets. Now, Blake has 0 dunks, so technically Chris Paul has more dunks than Blake Griffin. He can pass a little bit out of the post and can shoot a little bit, being kind of inconsistent. But he still is that vet. I agree with this take that yes, he's not that same superstar as Blake Griffin Clippers game was, but he can definitely take a team over the top with his shooting, potentially be a small ball 5, and just being that good vet to put a team over the top. So yeah, that's going to be episode 5 of Hot Sauce Takes. Be on the lookout for next Monday, where you'll see that community post. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and I'll see you on next time.